Hello and welcome back to Low Energy Videos with a twist, though if you watch the video in the link in the description or you were part of the poll on my Twitter, you know exactly what this is about. As such, no preamble, let's just get into it. Quake 4. Meh. And of course, as you saw on screen, there will be jump cuts, and may I recommend increasing my speed? I am a little slow-spoken for some people. Perhaps the younger crowd do not like me at that. Now, for today's first topic, I thought that I was going to talk about nostalgia. But it's been so long since I started to try to put this together that my mood has shifted to a broader issue. Because I'm doing a little better right now, I thought, why not talk about my let's call it my history with depression. And I think the best way to describe it with me, it's valleys, it's peaks, it's gullies. I'm doing pretty okay for myself. Saving up money's doing alright. I've not put on a bunch of weight. The trip's fast approaching. I've got some cool plans for 2023 besides the trip. Overall, I can't really complain. But who knows, in a week or a few days or a few hours from now, everything might change. One bad bill, a lot of bad memories all rushing together. I have a bad habit of bad memories. You can have a fantastic evening, fantastic week, fantastic year, and then you remember that time when you said something stupid in school and everyone pointing and laughing. It wasn't, to me, a matter that people somewhere right now will stop and go, hey, do you remember that loser kid? It's that I did it, that my mental capacity led me to make a dumbass move. And that I should feel bad almost to make sure that I never do it again. Well, guess what? That doesn't work. That does not work. I still end up feeling bad about myself, as well as I should. Don't ask me why, I just should. And from there, I start to realize, oh God, I'm really, 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 really never going to stop this. That's what led me to therapy. As you may recall, a few month or two ago, after the breakup I had, I decided to pop into therapy. And it was, let's say, productive, actually. It was, we were both in agreement that what I came there to resolve had been resolved. What that was just, that's too complicated. I'd have to go back and describe basically my whole life, my whole opinions with everything. And you'll probably get a good vibe of it anyway. And yes, this is again still off the cuff with some cliff notes, some basically some pointers. Speaking of, let's point our gun at things and shoot them, for it is time to play. And yeah, no audio from the game. You're not missing much, although I do remember Quake 4 with fondness, and this is where the nostalgia angle started coming into it from last time. But yeah, I ended up having a great time with my therapist. And you know you did good when both of you are in laughing fits. The main thing I got out of that was I learned to stop being in my head so much, to pull myself out, which isn't easy when you have to use your mind to basically teach yourself not to be in your mind all the time. Hopefully you're not hearing all the clicking every 5 seconds. You will see a jump cut most likely in a few seconds because we're about to go into the first 10 minutes. Well, we will in a minute. Every 10 minutes, I'm going to just pause it. And you're welcome for that. And I'm welcome for that because, my God, the goddamn pauses I do is just insane. It's like I forget what I'm talking about. Right now, I'm kind of forgetting what I'm talking about. Talking about depression. So, never once I noticed was there an effort for her to try to cure my depression, because you can't cure depression like that. You grow above it, you grow beyond it, you learn to live with it. Like, say, somebody who has a hand missing. Well, you know, then it's not going to grow back. You just got to get over the fact that you don't have a hand anymore. And hope that you can find some sort of jury rig. In my case, it's doing things that make me happy. One of the things that make me happy is travel. In fact, you could argue it's, besides alcohol and combining those three things, those two things with a third thing being hanging out with cool people. And yes, I do love hanging out with cool people. I really, really don't like have anything to match just getting on a plane or a train or a bus or hopping into a friend's car and going places. But that requires money. So if you haven't known already, I'm not going to Seattle and I'm not going to Omaha. Elf King already knows and is totally okay. We'll see each other again. We've known each other long before YouTube and we'll know each other long after it. But I was also going to go to Seattle to see Drunken Peasants and just see the West Coast. I might do that one day, or I might just go to LA or San Diego or San Francisco or wherever, but not right now. Because it would take me so long to save up, and then I would have to, basically just be bound here, and I'd go crazy. I'm kind of like the caged animal in that regard, and not in the dude bro sort of, I'm a wild animal ready to explode bullshit. No. I'm more of the, yeah, so I want to just go out and visit stuff and bring the camera with me and give you guys a stream, or at least a video. So that's what we're doing next year. That's 100% what we're doing next year. I'm going to go to New York, of course, and I'm going to go to the UK just because it's so goddamn cheap to go over to the UK. Like a flight to, say, Birmingham, for example, is about 30 quid. London, it's, if you're on good days, 17. 17! Not sad about not being able to do the 4 trips, because so long as America doesn't explode, quite possible, we'll be able to do it again sometime. Alright. So what does that mean for me? Well, for one thing, it means I might be forgetting where I'm going in this. Another, I'm going to go and edit now. So, behold the power of the cut of the jump. Aziz, light! So, as I was saying, what are we going to do? Well, I'm going to, after I come back from the UK, I'm going to divide the rest of the year into 2 things. One, I'm going to go and have myself a fantastic time saving up for stuff dedicated to the show. Dedicated to the stream. You know, new camera, new mic, green screen. You guys, of course, will have a big part in that. Increased processor, maybe more RAM. I want to get a lot of wireless stuff. I'm sick and tired of these goddamn wires everywhere. I also, of course, want to go and get a collection of trips. A lot of them. A lot of trips. All the trips. Ruins and abbeys and castles and castle abbey ruins. Downton Abbeys. No, not that one. Well, maybe if I go to the UK. The real place. The only thing is, though, while I love wandering around, I want to do it with somebody. Now, my friend Claire said that she'd be on board, and I'm sure I'll meet some interesting people along the way. But I want to actually go out and about with people. Because I've said this before, and I've got no shame in admitting it. I'm lonely. I get lonely very easy. I go out on trips, or I have a great night on streams, or I watch a movie, and then I turn to my left and my right, and no one's there. I don't even mean just romantically. I mean just no one's there, and it's not fun. It's not as fun as as sharing it. Nothing's better than hanging out with people that you get along with. And while I do alright in meeting cool people at bars or chatting with them on planes or whatever, you kind of, you can't beat knowing someone from years going on a long trip together. But of course, real life comes first. Real life always comes first. And I am very much aware that I have nothing but free time, and most people in my life don't. Most people in my life have work, or families, or are too far away, or all three. I know this just from streaming. The amount of times I've had to say, hey, no worries, life comes first, is quite high when it comes down to guests. And that's just the way of it. Nothing wrong with that. But it does mean that, I have to rely on my social skills, which as an Aspie aren't exactly amazing. I have to say my social skills are as useful as the lighting in this game, which I say as soon as the lighting gets a little better. This is the era of darkness. Hello, darkness, my old friend. Everything was dark. Everything was gloomy. To hide the bad textures and to hide the let's just say graphics weren't all the way there yet. A lot of browns. This was the Xbox 360 era, the early Xbox 360 era. Browns. Anyway, I do wish though that I had someone to spend time with. And when I was there with Lady, that was fantastic. But that was, would you believe that's pushing nearly a year now since I first got in contact with her. And it's also a sign that I need to do something more healthy, more happy. I need to move my legs more. I need to get out of the apartment. Dare I say I need to touch grass? Because on top of it all, gaming doesn't appeal to me quite as much. There's still occasional times where I go, ooh, I just saw Company of Heroes 3 being announced, and I was like, oh, I'm down for this. Of course I'm down for this. But it doesn't hit me the same way. Like if I had 500 in my pocket, and I could have gotten my a few days ago, I could have gotten myself a PS5. I was like, no, I'm okay. Didn't even cross my mind till well after that money was spent. That I did something practical with it. Maybe just getting older, wiser. Sick and tired of always trying to struggle to pay rent and bills. More so bills than rent. I'm always good on time with rent. Bills drive me a little crazy. And I want to start structuring that money better. So that's where it's going to go. It's going to go towards trips next year, of course. But with the New York trip pretty much taking care of itself at this point, and the UK trip being a long weekend, that's really not going to be that much of a problem. Yeah, it's going to be a good time. It'll be a good time spending the occasional night in a hostel in Galway or Dublin or wherever for like 20. Hell, I'm thinking the one in Jury's Inn right across the street from the train station. It's a capsule one. That's the one I'll be staying for this trip in January. Speaking of, anyone watching who didn't know, I'm off to New York in January. It's going to be for a fan meetup, so a lot of familiar faces are going to be there, or at least we'll try to make there. I won't hold it. See, that's what I'm saying. Like, I won't hold it against them if they can't make it. Some people would lose their shit, not me. Like, I'll be like, oh well. But again, there's a twang of loneliness, you know? I must feel like a kid going, I'm waiting for my friend, and then they never show up, you know? I've been stood up on dates before. That's not nice. I've actually been stood up on dates a few times now. As for dating, I think it's just going to happen naturally. I'm not going to look into it yet. After I've filled the apartment up with a little bit of art, and I've gotten myself stuff sorted out on stream, and I've gotten a few stories under my belt of that time in the Cliffs of Moher where a strong wind almost blew me over the edge, which I'm always terrified about. I think then I'll be like, yeah, I'm going to pick my choice pictures and put myself back on Tinder. Reopen my FetLife account, which, yeah, why not? I know somebody who's making a video on the journey of somebody's FetLife account. Well, I've got a FetLife account. They're pretty great. Highly recommend it. No need to be ashamed. No need to be embarrassed. All right, it's time to edit in a little bit. So once again, you'll see the wonders of a jump cut. Hopefully, at this point, I haven't been slicing it apart like crazy. I have no idea how bad the pauses are going to be. I'm very self-conscious of that. Which means for, ironically, an even less structured video than the Quake Therapy. But I'm keeping the name. This is Quake Therapy 1. And it's, if you don't know, because I probably didn't say it, it's going to be going on for about an hour. They're so nice when they die. They make a big ecto cooler-esque. Yeah, let's go and edit now. So getting back to killing aliens and mutant humans. We have but getting back to depression. I'm sure a lot of characters here are very depressed, even in an overly macho sort of way. Can't express themselves. It's all right to cry, Captain Mahler. Okay. But anyway, back to depression. I know how this goes at this point. I go up and down, up and down, up and down, like I said. But this time around, I can recognize the signs, and that's what therapy gave me. It also gave me context. Everyone says so much that I'm not a bad guy. Well, I do feel like a bad guy. I'm my own biggest enemy. I think a lot of Aspies have this problem, and it is really overcoming it. Obviously, other people have that problem too, imposter syndrome or whatever. And it's not fun. It's really not fun. But you gotta learn to, like, love yourself. I'm not a religious man, but Buddhism has a very good approach to this, where, you know, you gotta start, you can't love yourself, you can't love others till you love yourself. You can obsess over others, and I've definitely obsessed over people in my past. Who knows, I could even be obsessing over someone now. God, I hope not. Sorry. Breakfast wants to, oh God. Breakfast wants to make a return. Sure you wanted that little nugget of information. But yeah, like, I gotta learn to just be better about myself, and that means finding things that make me happy. Ideally not stuff that comes out of a bottle, or if it is, there's always a context to it. For example, hey, I want to have a drink. Alright, do you want to have a drink so you can go to sleep super easy? Or do you want to have a drink so you can tell the story of, I don't know, that time when you were a kid where you met one of the founders of Dunn Stores. Are you going to get drunk and do a Cobes, or are you going to get drunk and do Cobes on a good day? Obviously, the answer is you should always try to do Cobes on a good day. I do think that Cobes is in many ways very similar to me. Yesterday I was doing a stream with Magicus. Really fun stream. Highly recommend you check it out. But I clipped a moment where I was like, I was really depressed, so I ate and drank and acted like Cobes for like a whole day. I didn't mean to, but by the time I realized it, I was like, oh god, this is his day today. The only thing that was lacking was like the trolls. And if I was like that on stream, they would come. They would flock, especially once I put my opinion out on different races or homosexuality or fucking being way too defensive on sickos, you know? Methinks she doth protest too much. But I'm really happy I'm not that bad. Because I pulled myself out. And while I was making fun of Cobes' attitude and to a degree his lifestyle, I genuinely get him. I do. I mean, I don't get the whole I think I'm a superstar angle. Like, he should be the best Cobes. He should try to be the best Cobes he can be instead of this magic man in his head. And it would lose him subscribers, trolls who would just not care, and he probably wouldn't be in like the best lineup anymore. He'd be in like more of a sort of whatever happened to King Cobes, and then it turns out, oh, he's actually doing quite well for himself. Doesn't even go by Cobes anymore. Actually, you could keep that. You could keep that as a sort of legacy of what he learned, you know. But his issues are like 10 times, 1,000,000,000 times worse than mine, but I still feel them to a degree. So it's one reason I find him so fascinating. It's like the IP2 crowd. The IP2 crowd has just, especially because they're so young, Jesus Christ, most of them are in their 20s. They've just kind of given in to atrophy. They're pure nihilists. They might not think it, they might not act it all the time, but they really are nihilists. Oh, that just happened, I guess. They just want to get blitzed out and stick a camera in their face, and then they feel bad about the things they did the night before. Then they get blitzed out to hide it, and it's this endless cycle. We learned that in philosophy. It's like a positive negative feedback loop or whatever. You do the thing that makes you feel good, but it makes you feel guilty, so you do the thing that makes you feel like the way Catholics go on about porn, and then they go off and watch porn and it makes them feel bad, when you could just embrace it. Like, I want to forget some things. Well, what do you want to forget? This thing. Oh no, now you're making me think of it. Yes, think of it. Deal with it. It could be something that really, really, really is worth looking into. Or it could be something in your head. Like me, always thinking that people are making fun of me. See what I mean? Cobes. I do think that sometimes. I do think that people are making fun of me. People are mocking me and shaming me, but no one is, online or offline. The last time someone made fun of me for anything, I think honestly I've earned it, and I really do, because I think I was being a dick. One of the things that I brought up in therapy, and she said, "Why did you do that?" And she grilled me for a few minutes, and I was like, "Yeah, you were 100% right. I shouldn't have done it." There was no justification. There's no but at the end of this. And for the record, I knew it at the time, but that doesn't change the fact I did it. It came from somewhere in me. But here's the thing: everyone's got stories like that. Everyone's got angles, little dick versions of themselves. And that's okay. You don't hide it. You don't like shuffle it away and don't pretend it exists. You acknowledge it. Like for me and my rage, I've said this enough times now as of late. But yeah, I've clearly got a little bit of an anger issue going on. I learned that a lot this year, actually. And I did talk about it in therapy. And I always have my justifications for why I'm angry. I'm angry at... I don't post this thing to a quick save this game has. So I don't end up getting... so I always have a justification for myself. Like, oh, here's a Karen, or a pedo, or here's a politician trying to pass anti-trans, or anti-gay, or anti-abortion, or anti-freedom of speech. And, you know, it swells me up. Like, and I don't mean like in a fucking sexual way. I mean, I start seeing red, and I want to grab them and make them stop doing the thing. I almost wish to a degree that they were like a toddler and I was a really, really bad nanny, just shaking them, going, "Stop doing that!" There'll be a picture up on screen of what that is, of what I have in my head right now, if I can find it. It'll be funny for, I guess, child abuse. Edit time. I honestly think 10 minutes might be too short for these edits. Never gauge that electric current. This is one of my first big pauses, so I might actually cut that a little bit. That's actually something else as well. I'm very self-conscious. I feel like I have to apologize and explain away things because throughout my life, I've been running across very impatient people. There's a lot of impatient people out there. Like, come on, let's do it, come on, no. I'm like, no. Now, that actually is one major reason I get very angry. I'm like, okay, if you're going to keep doing that, I'm going to go even slower just to spite you. Which, yeah, that might get a few chuckles from people who know that this person was acting like an ass. But I'm just as petty. I'm not going to say who and what the context was, but a while back I talked to somebody before the start of a show, and we were talking about a third party. And as it turns out, they were really not... They're really not liked, which is very good, but this person was talking about, no, all you need to do is this or that or this or that, and I was like, well, hold on, you don't... You know, I get that vibe to want to actually just hurt somebody, to beat someone up, to throttle them, to sick a pack of angry children with shivs on them to kill them like Master Pycelle in Game of Thrones. There's something very vicious about that. I've always loved. I always think that, like, in 1984, one of the scariest things is the Scout League, the kids narking on their own parents. You can't trust your own parents, you know? Holy fuck. Like, you can't trust your own children, rather. Yeah, that's pretty scary. But, like, all these are just fantasies and dreams, when in reality, if somebody is acting like a dick, try to walk away. Now, there are times when you can't walk away. For example, while eventually everyone dies, family tends to linger. Hopefully in a positive sense, but sometimes not. And sometimes some of the family are really cool, and sometimes the other family don't remember much. And then there's always that one person, that uncle on Facebook who you have to block because they're sending all that racist shit. Or that uncle who, I used uncle before. That cousin who gets shit-faced and talks about their ex in like a really negative way. I'm still really happy that none of my exes I have a really negative opinion on the par. Obviously, there was things that drove us apart, but not in a "God, I hate them" sort of way. I'm really happy with that. I know this is very disjointed. I know this is 100% disjointed. See what I'm doing? See what the hell I'm doing? I'm gonna have a cup of tea. Tealicious. Or terrific, it's up to you. The thing is though, like, you gotta be better than the worst elements. Until there is a time. There is always a time to break someone's nose. There is. That's just the way of the world. It's a message, it's punishment, and it is cathartic. But, you know, the sword shouldn't always be in your hand. It should be gathering dust over the fireplace, you know? Something's gone very wrong if you're always wielding the sword. One of my proudest moments out was a few years ago out in the pub up there, Dave's pub. And there was just this guy talking about how Trump was great. And when I said I didn't agree with him, and we were all pretty drunk, this was going to be the start of a proper fight. He was like, "No, I want to know, why don't you like Trump? I want to have this conversation." I'm like, no one else does. So you're trying to force us to have a conversation with something we don't want to do? No. No, I'm not. I'm just asking questions and we're refusing to answer. It's as simple as that. And everyone kind of was like, "Wow, man, I couldn't have kept this cool." I know at this point everyone's like, everybody clapped. Like, no, I'm saying how rare it is for something like that to happen to me. Bad enough when I have to, bad enough when, like, these things happen in, like, to a friend, but when it happens to you, to me, it's quite rare. Like, I've run across flat earthers. He was actually quite nice, the flat earther. I've run across very recently I ran across a sort of Andrew Tate fan. He didn't know he converted to Islam, and the smile just dropped from his face. And again, these were all really nice people, but, you know, like, what was I going to do but, you know, either rise to the bait or not? And I don't think it was bait. It could have still ended up with two of us just being, like, agreeing to disagree. I've always respected, I said this on the failed first attempt at this video, around about roughly the same time. I've always respected people who could just sit on the beach and go like, "Hey man, that's like just your opinion." It doesn't help the wider world if you're not willing to stand up for what you believe in, but it is a much more calming world to live in. If instead of screaming at each other, everyone just has a beer on the beach and watch the fireworks. Part of me would love just to live out in California or the south of France, Italy, Spain, wherever, and just chill, vibe, sit on the beach, and every time I say this in a video game, like, what's up with the economy where you can sell trash but everyone's poor and there's trash everywhere? How is there homeless people in Cyberpunk when you can convert that into money? How is there homeless people in Skyrim or Oblivion when all you have to do is pick flowers? Pull yourself up by your bootstraps. No, I'm saying, like, there shouldn't be necessary for bootstraps. Currency should be goddamn redundant in this universe. Poverty should be completely resolved. And yet, you know, in the real world, if I were to go out and collect trash for a living, I don't mean like as a garbage man, but literally just trash for a living, like, I might be able to make a few cents, enough to buy, ironically, a can of Coke. Maybe they'd pay me in a sandwich and a place to stay. You know? I become an indentured servant for 10 years and I use a store credit to buy everything I need. And then at the end of it, they give me a lump sum to start my life. You know, depending on the place and how I'd live, I could be down for that. I'd feel like I'd be giving something back to the community anyway. Because sometimes when I'm looking through my sea of games or my sea of movies, or sighing because, like, oh, I only made $10 today. motherfucker. There have been streamers who've been going longer than me with bigger audiences. I just had to look over my finances from streaming and oh my god. Another edit incoming, but oh my god, you guys have been so generous ever since I started. Yeah, especially last year. Wow. I'm not going to say the number, but it's big. Far bigger than I was expecting. And this year, a bit less, but that's okay. It's still a chunk of change. You wouldn't say no to it if you found it on the street. Plus, at this rate, before the end of the year, I should have my first Twitch payout. Might be only 50, but that's 50 more than I had. Like, I can live like a pauper or a prince. I don't really mind. And this is getting back to what I was saying. So long as I have someone to enjoy it with. At the core of it, I think I'm a very lonely guy. Whether it be for sex or whether it be for just friendship. Now, it comes with caveats. There are some people I do not want to be friends with. I just don't. I just do not find them near enough to be friends. And I've met some of them online. Some people, they're going through their own drama, for example, and they want me to be their agony aunt. Well, I'm sorry, but as streams like this show, videos like this show, I need an agony aunt too. But I prefer talking it out with friends or maybe doing something like this. This is an experiment to see if I like what I'm doing. Yeah, like I honestly think that this is gonna help just process some things in my skull. If only because I'm treading over the exact same water as last time. You guys wouldn't know, but yeah, I'm definitely treading over some of the exact same points. And I think we're all lonely to a degree, and it really depends on what sort of lonely. If we're looking for sex, if we're looking for vindication, I'm not looking for vindication. That's something I noticed. That's the difference between Cobes and me. I'm not looking for vindication. I don't... He says at times that he is, other times that he isn't. We all know he is. Particularly from his dad, which is so sad. Because I'm sure his dad loves him. I'm sure his dad gives a shit about him. It's just... Cobes isn't for everyone at all times. That probably includes his dad. Sometimes I'm sure his dad like shakes his head. But... I know I would. But... Vindication's never been my thing. Instead... I've always wanted a sort of community to call my own. Not where I'm in charge or anything like that. Little commune of harem building like that dude from Tiger King. I just want to be... I want to have a life, a detailed life, a network of people. Go like, hey, this is every day is game night. Every Tuesday is game night. Once a month we go over to France for like a night, and I don't know, go to this really cool club. Which over here, that's not too bad. That's like you can get a flight to Paris for fairly cheap. Which again, like, why don't I next year go over to Paris for a day or two, like for 48 hours? Find a place to crash, get a flight back in the morning. Just wander around Gay Paris for the night, you know? And as much as I enjoy all these, I would enjoy all these, obviously I want to do it with a few people. That could be also another reason I kind of am a little bit envious of the IP2 crowd. They can get into a van and go anywhere they want. For as long as, like, if they want to drive here, they'll drive here. They want to drive there, they drive there. And, you know, it's self-fulfilling. Now, it comes with too many caveats for it to be good, but yeah, I really just would like to go on adventures with you guys in tow. I have a camera, I've got a phone. Twitch, so long as there's good Wi-Fi, which is sometimes I find and sometimes I don't. we can go out on adventures together and it'll be fun. And if that means I can't go on one big extra trip that year, or two, or three, so what? Eventually, I'll hit a wall of that too, and then maybe I'll sit back down and appreciate just a place to call my own. But that's not right now, that's all. Which, I really like that map painting. That's very MDK looking. Or original Doom. But yeah, like, I need to stop doing this, what I'm doing now, which is not an insult to you guys. It's just, get out and touch grass started as a meme. Well, guess what? There's a truth to it. I should get out and touch grass. Weather's shit here this time of year, but I think I'd be a lot happier if I went hiking more. And again, if I had someone to do it with. I went urban exploring. I'd love to bring a couple of bottles of Fireball and a thermos full of coffee, and just go exploring old abandoned buildings, big abandoned projects, with like 2 or 3 people, and yeah, turn it into content, and it's all doable. And I think I'd be a lot happier if I did that. Even now, I kind of like, I'm perking up a bit just thinking about it. My nipples are quite erect. I just would love to be able to say, hey, this is something I would love to, this is something that I can do. I'd love to just travel. And that's what I'm going to do next year. And that fills me with joy, because this year's almost over. And you know what? As far as years go, it wasn't the worst. It wasn't the worst year. Even though I lost love, I found love too. It reminded me I can still get it. Even after letting myself go post-America. And speaking of America, we got trips too. Trips aplenty. Both planned and unplanned. At the end of the day, all I need is 200 quid in my pocket and my travel pass. And the ability to wake up early. And that's it. That's all I need to have a good time. I suppose it would help if I bring some ID. They're going to need that for when I need to crash in a place. At the end of the day, I'm hopeful for next year. And yes, that's a bit weird considering I'm usually a bit of a doom and gloomer guy, but I'm actually more of a glass half full kind of guy. I think the next edit will be the last edit. The last 10 minutes. So, let's see if I can fuck up a good deal. a good thing, huh? Speaking of, I wonder if God, this grenade launcher sucks. It's hurling cans of Coca-Cola at people. Would be better elsewhere. So, yeah, I'm gonna probably keep doing these videos. I can't say once a week or whatever. Maybe there'll be themes. I'd like to talk about things I've learned as a streamer. That would be really cool. I know I'm a kind of a joke streamer. I do it as a hobby, even though, like I said, you guys have been so goddamn generous. And I'm probably never going to get that plaque on or get like partnership with Twitch, but that's all right. I don't need them. I would love to. There's some people I'd love to have on the podcast and such, but for now, that's not a big deal. What is I'm gonna open up a little notepad and just write down things I've noticed throughout the week. And when I think there's enough to talk about, I'll bring it back. I need some of these for my room. I'm going to pick up some of these next year. Sound woofing or the like. Or maybe get like an office partition to kind of like just deal with the echo. But it'll probably be cheaper than getting a decent mic. My room's just a big empty room right now. And if I'm going to fill it up, I want to fill it up with cool things. And that's going to cost money. Things I can get. Cool things we can all get. In the... I have no idea where I'm going. Downside of audio, I guess. Cool things we can get in the new year. Then at the end of everything, who knows? Maybe I'll end up getting a pet, because that's something else I've been threatening for a while now. A low energy dog, a low energy cat, a rescue ideally, because those poor puppers, they need our help. Probably the rest of the videos is me just gonna walk around aimlessly until I find a button to press. Downside of having no audio on. But this is just being background noise. I hope I haven't edited too much. Probably compared to the last one I did. Do a decent job of editing. Yeah. Only now I'm really starting to get like super pausey and shit. Well, whatever the answer to this door is, I guess I'll find out next time. Yeah, what I'm gonna need you guys to do now is just say so in the comments. Like, did you think this was a good idea, a bad idea? I get too personal? Did I not get personal enough? There's a limit, motherfuckers. There's a limit. Plenty of things in my life are no one else's business but my own. Would there be a topic you'd like me to cover in the future? Because, yeah, I could say my piece. I could say my piece on abstract things like transhumanism, or my opinion on trans people, which, fuck. It's gonna be mostly positive. Trans women are women, and trans men are men, and NBs are valid, and, you know, take your pick. I just really don't know. I really don't know what, like, the future of this is. That's okay. In fact, at this point, I'll probably just end the damn stream. Video. Force a habit. Oh. 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 There's a third dimension. Again, I really like it. It has a sort of scorned H.R. Geiger vibe to it. And yeah, this is also me actually making a video, not a stream. It's been a while, hasn't it? I'd like to give you something else before the end of the year. I don't know what. I keep working myself up into... I know this is getting into, like, as a strings I learned as a streamer. But I do work myself up into a worried frenzy about streaming. And, like, what sort of video I'm gonna make for you guys. And what sort of topic. Some people really don't mind rambling off their head. I'm one of them, but you know, structure is still like I still need to do. I still need an opener, right? I do well with people, bouncing off people. I think I don't think I could ever be a comedian, but if I ever have funny moments, it's always because I'm bouncing ideas off other people. Terrible at jokes. Good at, I don't know, what would you guys say? This is this thing again, like, it's very weird for me to give myself compliments, but that's one thing, you gotta give yourself compliments. Don't become a narcissistic prick, and don't take credit for things you didn't do. But, you know, if you're good at something, own up to it. And I have to have some sort of appeal. I've got dedicated fans now who pay money monthly on Twitch. And while I can't say it's always guaranteed a donation or a subscription, those numbers have been going up. So, also, something I noticed on the Discord, you guys often share my stuff before I get to it, which is nice. It's nice. It's vindicating. This has been a very vindicating thing. Like I said, I'll talk about this probably next time. Yeah, next time we'll talk about things I've learned as a streamer. But this has been fun. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. I'm gonna go now and probably gonna reheat this tea or get a new cup even. This has gotten very cold. And I'll see you guys. Well, it really depends when this is edited, isn't it? But for now, I'm really glad I finally got off my arse and did this. And I'm really glad that I'm also getting on to Quake, more and more with Quake. Let's see if we can finish it before I run out of things to talk about. So, yeah, that's me. That's been my ramble. It's been my therapy for the first session. Hopefully first of many, but as you know, I have made promises I couldn't keep. Let's just say, no matter what, you'll see me soon, and have a great day beforehand. And don't be afraid to comment. I would love feedback on this one. This one's a very personal one, so yeah. Alright. See yous. Bye.